Okay, I'd like to talk about the PHP Language Extensions library that I've written, and today I'm going to talk about the friend feature. So a friend is something we can add to a method or class, and then we can supply a list of classes, and it is only these classes that can call the particular method or methods in the class. And this is loosely based on the C++ feature. So I'm going to show you 3 examples of when something like this might be used. The first time we might use the friend feature, or a use case of the friend feature, is when we're using creational design patterns. So things like builders and factories. Let's say we've got a builder or a factory and that builds a person object. And what we might want to do is enforce that only that builder or only that factory can create new instances of the person object, and we can't do it directly. And there's many good reasons. If you're using a factory or a builder or other creational design patterns, assuming you're doing it for the right reason, then this is probably the kind of constraints that you would want to add to your code base. So we've got a really simple example here. We've got this person object. It just takes a single property name when we construct it, and there is a getName method to get the name. Now, again, in this example, we've got a person factory, we've got a create person method. It takes the name, and all that it actually does is just passes it to the person. So in this particular example, it wouldn't be worth having the additional complexity of using a person factory, but let's, for the sake of argument, imagine there is some complicated logic going on before we can create the person object. And if you're using creational patterns, there will be something like that. Maybe there's some validation, or I don't know, some other bits of complexity here. So imagine we've written some code and we've written a person factory, and we want to make sure that anytime someone creates a person object, they must use the person factory to do that. Well, this is a use case for friend. So we can look at some code. We've got this first way of doing it. We get an instance of person factory, and then we call the create person method on it, and we get our person object. That's, we're going to say, is the correct way of doing things. And this here, where we just create an instance of person directly, we're going to say this is not the correct way of doing it in this context, probably because there's some good reason about how we create person objects or something like that. Now, I'm just going to hop over to PHP Stan, and I'm going to run PHP Stan, and it says there are no errors. So what we really want to be in a situation is we need to mark this code as problematic, so that PHP Stan will tell us, no, you're not supposed to call. You're not supposed to instantiate person directly, you're supposed to use the person factory. And the way we can do that is on the construct method, we can add the friend attribute, and then we just give it the name of the class that it is friend. So in this case, it's just one friend, it's person factory. So all we're going to do is just add this line here. And what that means is you can only call construct from the person factory. Now, if we hop back to PHP Stan, we can see that it's now complaining. It's saying that person construct cannot be called from the demo. It can only be called from its friends, and its friends are listed. In this case, its only friend in this case is person factory. So this is one use case for the friend attribute. Just by adding that in, we can now enforce whatever architectural reason we had for making sure that a person is only created via the person factory. We can just create it by just adding this line in here.